taking over DOC operations, but Director Samantha Brennan will remain on the job. Chris Barnett has more.
Department of Corrections Acting Deputy Director Joe Carbolito has taken over the operations of the prison, but Director Samantha Brennan will remain on the job and handle administrative duties like budget, payroll, and hiring. An internal prison memo signed by Brennan and obtained by KUAM states the acting deputy shall oversee and be responsible for the operations of DOC with the advice and recommendations from the warden and command staff. But Carbolito clarifies Brennan is still the boss.
Overall, the director still has jurisdiction, but I'm pretty much going to be directly involved with the operations.
We asked Carbolito if Brennan's removal from handling the operations of the prison was the result of anonymous letters written by corrections staff and meetings the governor had last week with rank-and-file prison employees and command staff. Those letters calling out what prison workers say is Brennan's lack of leadership abilities.
We just have to work with each other, and we don't want to, we don't want to make this, any worse than it already is as far as, the perception out there. We're just trying to make things better, and we're trying different ways. Okay, just something from a new perspective. Let's see if they're responsive to it.
Guam Federation of Teachers Field Representative Robert Koss tells KUAM concerns he filed official complaints about on behalf of DOC officers were not remedied, even after he withdrew those official complaints after a meeting with the governor on Friday. Koss on Friday said GFT was impressed with the governor's desire to correct problems at the Department of Corrections. But those complaints not addressed, and Koss said he received complaints as recently as yesterday from corrections staff. He says this week 4 officers worked 24-hour shifts and no special operations response team was in place as of yesterday. Koss added that a planned meeting with Brennan for November 19 was canceled by Brennan. He added that in the midst of issues at the prison, Brennan opted to sign leave and go grocery shopping. Koss also cited inmate overcrowding, saying he had been made aware this week that as many as 7 inmates were being held in one 6 by 10-foot cell. The memo states that the SORT team shall be reinstated to ensure the safety and security of all personnel. It further advises that personnel at the prison shall not work more than 16 hours a day and shall be afforded rest time of at least 1 out of the 2 regular days off. We asked Carbolito if his assuming command of prison operations means Director Brennan is on the way out.
No, I have no information on that. Sorry.
We also asked Carbolito if he felt he had a good working relationship with DOC staff.
In the short time that I've been here, I feel, from my opinion, that the communication's just there. I'm trying to work with them, understand all the problems and do what I can to help them. I'm listening to all their concerns. We're trying to make some changes, right? And, just to work with the troops on their concerns.
Meanwhile, the memo is dated November 19th, but Koss confirms prison staff just received it this morning. For Guam's News Network, Chris Barnett reports.
Guadalupe Director of Policy Carlo Branch says about the memo, Director Brennan remains the head of DOC. The memo merely outlines the division of administrative and operational duties. He adds Brennan will focus on the hiring of 40 to 60 new corrections officers. The memo was signed by both the director and acting deputy alike, showing they are both united in accomplishing the same mission. Guadalupe has announced overdue overtime for Department of Correction officers will be paid tomorrow. A release from the governor's office said the payments will cover payroll periods from October 12th to November 9th, bringing overtime current at the corrections facility. Governor Lou Leon Guerrero said that her personal report to DOC staff and management is being finalized and that she looks forward to releasing it early next week. A total of 166 payments will be made, equaling $273,000. Guadalupe Policy Director Carlo Branch says the money came from the current year's budget. In the release, the governor adds, we are fast-tracking the largest recruitment of DOC officers in recent history. DOC Union Rep Robert Koss said the untimely payment of overtime was one of the major issues corrections officers were concerned with. The court has yet to make a decision on defendant Mark Torrey Jr.'s motion to dismiss the indictment, although today the case was heard in Judge Michael Bordalio's courtroom. Torrey was convicted 2 years ago for the 2015 fatal shooting of fellow police officer Albert Piolo. However, in July, the Supreme Court vacated the convictions, ruling that the body camera footage at the crime scene shouldn't have been presented to the jury. The AG's office is retrying the case. In court this afternoon, the defendant's counsel, Jay Areola, presented the prosecution with a stipulation the two parties have agreed upon.
Have the clerk's court reporters unit, Your Honor, submit the recording of the grand jury proceedings under seal in compact disc form for the court.
As the court stated, it has administratively access to that, but I just want to make sure the record is complete so that when the court issues its decision on the motion, that we have that recording on the record.
Judge Bordello said he plans to have a written decision out by early next week and scheduled a return for the trial setting on December 5th. Zonja Mayor Jesse Bloss's trial date has been pushed back. The defendant's attorney, Joseph Rosano, filed a motion asking for more time in order to review discovery. That includes audio and video evidence and the cooperation agreement documents from the government's initial complainant, Vicky Lynn Tergeu. Rosano asked for a 43-day continuation and for trial to begin on January 14th. The government did not oppose. Today, the court granted the motion and trial has been set for February 4th. Bloss was indicted on federal charges related to allegations that he was accepting bribes to smuggle in drugs through a U.S. Postal Service cluster box controlled by the mayor. Bloss has pleaded not guilty. And more from district court, a case has been unsealed of 3 defendants, including one of Zonja Mayor Jesse Bloss's former girlfriends. Lovelia Mendoza, Mark Mayo, and Joseph Roman are charged with conspiracy to distribute meth, attempted possession of meth with intent to distribute, and notice of forfeiture. The federal grand jury filed the indictment on November 13th, according to court documents from April 2018 to May 10th, 2018. The 3 defendants conspired in a scheme to distribute 50 or more grams of meth. The case was unsealed this week on Wednesday after Mayo and Roman were arrested. KUAM has learned Mayo also has 2 local court cases that he faces charges for possession of a Schedule II controlled substance for 2018 arrests. At the initial appearance hearing before Magistrates Judge Joaquin Manabusan on Wednesday, the 2 were arraigned and pleaded not guilty. The defendants were placed into custody with the U.S. Marshals Service. As for Mendoza, she was already in custody at a correctional facility in California, where she is serving an 8-year sentence on drug-related charges. According to court documents, last year Mendoza was charged for the possession of 537 grams of meth and 30 grams of cocaine. The defendant entered a plea and admitted to distributing drugs to U.S. military members, dependents, and a federal employee. You may recall amongst the few names stated in Zonja Mayor Jesse Bloss's federal case, Mendoza was one alleged to be a former girlfriend of Bloss. The village mayor was charged with extortion, bribery, and for allowing illegal drug trafficking through Zonja mailboxes. Mendoza, Mayo, and Roman's trial was scheduled for January 28, 2020. In Superior Court, a superseding indictment charges another man in the Agate drive-by shooting incident that occurred nearly 1 year ago. Here's more. 24-year-old Mariano Anthony Salas Kenyatta named as a new defendant in the attempted murder case and faces charges of attempted murder by complicity as a first-degree felony, aggravated assault by complicity as second- and third-degree felonies. According to court documents, it was on December 7, 2018, when Kenyatta aided co-defendant 22-year-old Jared John Santos. As we've reported, Santos was arrested after the suspect and a male victim got into an argument at the mobile gas station. The case was filed on December 8, 2018. According to court documents, the incident was caught on the service station's video surveillance. The victim then drove north along Route 2, and while stopped at the intersection of Route 12, the suspect pulled up and allegedly shot at the victim's car. The victim suffered a gunshot wound to his lower back and was rushed to the KUAM Memorial Hospital for treatment. Santos faces charges of attempted murder as a first-degree felony, aggravated assault as a second-degree felony, and aggravated assault as a third-degree felony, each with a special allegation of possession of a deadly weapon in the commission of a felony and possession of a firearm without a firearms ID. Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Adriana Cotero. A woman who dangled a baby over a second-floor balcony in a video gone viral has been arrested. Chris Barnett was on the scene and has more.
A woman dangling a child over the railing of a second-floor balcony twice. That's what this viral video shows. The person filming the video can't believe what he's seeing.
What the f***? The f is she doing?
KUAM News on the scene this morning. The video took place at RK Apartments in Anigua. The brother of the woman depicted in the video told us his sister's name is Norian Tommy and that the baby girl in the video is just 2 years old.
She was just playing around.
She was just playing around, huh?
But then before the car beat, my uncle told her to put her in.
Tom Kevin was visiting relatives at RK Apartments this morning. He told us he saw the video on WhatsApp. What did you think when you saw the video?
That's crazy. Crazy of the parents, that's no good.
Now, according to a magistrate's complaint, a GPD officer was sent the video through Instagram, recognized the building in the video, and officers then went to the apartments where they met Norian Tommy. After she agreed to go with cops to Agutnia precinct, Tommy confessed to officers that she was the woman in the video. She told police that the child was trying to climb the balcony several times, and every time she pulled the baby away from the balcony, the baby would cry. She told police she held the baby over the balcony railing to stop her from crying. And each time she did that, the baby stopped crying. Norian was arrested on charges of child abuse, family violence, and reckless conduct. GPD spokesman Paul Tapau.
She was brought to the precinct and later charged for child abuse and family violence. Now, the case in itself was also forwarded to the Child Protection Service for their information and disposition, and it was also forwarded to the Office of the Attorney General for possible indictment. We want to thank the passerby who had witnessed this, who provided the information, as this aided us with our investigation. And safety of kids is really what we look for, not just with the Guam Police Department, but throughout the community.
For Guam's News Network, Chris Barnett reports.
The Office of the Chief Medical Examiner has another opening to fill. Morgue attendant Joseph Aquino has resigned. The Commission on Postmortem Chairman Attorney General Levin Camacho's office tells KUAM a memorandum of understanding is already in place between GMH and the medical examiner's office for a morgue attendant until the position is filled, and they say that it's not expected that there will be any delays in autopsies. And the Commission is also still in search of a new chief medical examiner following the retirement of Dr. Espinola back in January. Stick around for more news here on Primetime. You're watching KUAM.
Get up-to-the-minute news, plus access to alerts, streaming radio, promotions, and more on your mobile device by downloading the KUAM News mobile app, available at the App Store now.
Now there's a technology that's lighting the way to a new mortgage for people all across Guam. Introducing Simplify Mortgage by Bank of Hawaii, Hawaii's leading lender. Simplify Mortgage by Bank of Hawaii lets you apply for a home loan anytime from any device, making the mortgage and refi process faster and easier. Or work hand in hand with one of our residential loan experts. So put the power of choice and control in your hands. Simplify Mortgage by Bank of Hawaii. Welcome to tomorrow.
We value relationships because when we commit,
I love you guys until you're 80, until you're 90, until you're 100, forever.
We are in it for the long run, so you can enjoy the moments that matter. Because when we commit to relationships, we never stop caring. Calvo's Select Care, health care that is always there for you. Federal employees and annuitants enroll today.
Okay, so what are we thinking today?
I just need a trim.
Okay, well, luckily you are in great hands. Perfect.
The $1 stylist deal.
Is that it?
That's it.
Or you could get a real deal. McDonald's buy one, get one for $1 deal is here. Buy one of your faves and choose another for just an extra $1. Choose from the Big Mac, filet of fish, quarter pounder with cheese, and 10-piece chicken McNuggets, but only for a limited time.
Guam is truly a majestic place with its sheer natural beauty, wealth of beaches, and culturally rich landscape. Unfortunately, Guam has a real problem with unwanted invasive species. Help us in preventing their introduction and spread. The coconut rhinoceros beetle, the little fire ant, the African snail, Siam weed. These are just a few of the numerous invasives on Guam. Follow proper custom procedures when bringing plants and animals into Guam.
Help protect Guam. Tell your family and friends about invasive species.
To report invasive species, call 475-PEST.
It's a special delivery to your inbox every week with your KUAM News Roundup, program advisories, and promotions. Sign up for the weekly KUAM Digital Digest today on KUAM.com.
Your power bill could be going down early next year. GPA has 4 proposals it is presenting to the Consolidated Commission on Utilities. The first would reduce the fuel surcharge known as the LEAC from the current 15.4 cents per kilowatt hour to 13.8 cents, or about a 10% decrease. GPA cites a projected drop in the price of oil and further reduction in fuel costs through demand-side management. If approved by the CCU at a meeting next week, GPA will then present the proposal to the PUC for final approval. The LEAC change would take effect from February through July of next year. And with regional headlines, here's KSPN2 News.
Hafa Guam, here are the headlines for CNMI.
Pacific Rim says that IPI owes them over $5 million for construction work and isn't paying. On February the 13th, 2018, Pacific Rim entered into a contract with IPI to take over the construction of the hotel and casino complex in Garapan. At the time, IPI was asking the CCC for an extension. Pacific Rim began bringing in employees from Guam. Let's take a look back now at April 26, 2018, at the Commonwealth Casino Commission meeting. Eric Poon of IPI and Keith Stewart of Pacific Rim.
What we have done so far, we have a couple of workshops with the DPAC from IPI, also DPAC from the governor office. So we have a couple of workshops, and we're trying to get a package to propose to the governor for a reasonable and feasible proposal for this license extension.
It's a long process. It is taking longer than what we originally would have thought ourselves. And so, but as you can see when you look at the building each week, it is transforming, and you can see the work that's going on.
Pacific Rim says they furnished labor and materials in a workmanlike manner, but IPI failed to pay despite due demand. By September, the marriage was over. The companies executed a notice of mutual termination, and in their divorce settlement, IPI agreed to pay for the completed work. Colin Thompson, who represents Pacific Rim.
There was a mutual termination executed based on the fact that IPI had not been paying Pacific Rim what was owed and what was currently due on the construction contract. So the parties entered a mutual termination on that basis, and then at that time there was a promissory note executed, which was a compromise amount on the construction contract amount due, and it established a payment plan, and IPI did not meet the schedule of payments under that promissory note.
Thompson says the promissory note executed at the time was a negotiated settlement for the completed work, and some payments were initially made. Did they pay it all?
There were some payments made against the promissory note, but it was not paid in full. There's when you look at the complaints, we're alleging $5,650,000 still owing on the principal on the promissory note. The promissory note also provides for interest in the event of default and attorney's fees in the event of a dispute.
Pacific Rim is now asking for a lien on the hotel casino complex, the real property interest of IPI, and the improvements of the hotel casino. The fee simple owners of the property will also be served with a copy of the lien. Those fee simple owners include the Department of Public Lands with a lot size of 15,000 square meters, Commonwealth Investment Company with 3 lots, a piece of property owned by David Areola and others, a piece of property owned by Joaquina L.G. Sablon, and 2 lots owned by J.C. Tenorio Enterprises. The application for the lien is scheduled to be heard in federal court on December the 3rd.
We asked just for a bench trial in that, and Imperial Pacific has asked for a jury trial. We'll see how that works out as the case develops.
For more news, visit SaipanTV.com. For KSPN2 News, I'm Ashley McDowell.
Governor Lou Leon Guerrero has appointed Michelle Razo Lastimosa to serve as the new Deputy Administrator of the Guam Environmental Protection Agency. Razo Lastimosa currently serves as an Environmental Health Specialist 3 at GEPA. Her appointment takes effect Monday, November 25th. The governor stated after meeting with her and learning more about her countless accomplishments in the public and private sectors, as well as in the military, it is clear to me that she is passionate about protecting the environment. Raza Lastimosa graduated with a BA in biology from the University of Guam and has held environmental and health-related positions at Guam EPA and the Department of Public Health and Social Services. She also worked as an environmental engineer for DZSP 21 LLC. And $300,000 is available for nonprofit groups and government agencies through a new pilot program launched by the Guam Economic Development Authority. The community contribution grants are funded by certain qualifying certificate holders, says GITA CEO Melanie Mendiola. She says the project should address fundamental needs in one of 7 categories.
The max grant amount is $50,000, and so we are encouraging multiple small projects as opposed to large projects, and we have several different program areas of interest, including healthcare, public safety, higher education, cultural preservation, tourist attractions, sports tourism, economic development, of course, because we're GITA.
Contact GITA for more information on how to apply for the Qualifying Certificate Community Contribution Grant Program, or you can go to their website at www.investguam.com. The deadline to apply is December 16th, 2019. One of 4 senators who voted against a bill to regulate digital signage in Tumon is still not convinced it'll be good for the tourist district. Senator Kelly Marsh Taitano says she opposed Senate Speaker Tina Muna Barnes' measure because of a lack of information on the impact of such signs.
First of all, we needed to hear from more businesses. We did really only hear from a couple, and there are so many that are down there in Tumon specifically, so it would have been helpful to have heard from more. But also, we want to make sure that we're not creating a situation that without the surveys and without the data, it actually changes our character so that we're hurting our tourism and then thereby hurting our businesses.
Marsh, Taitano, and several other senators sought to amend the bill to address some of their concerns.
We tried to tackle size, we tried to tackle the level of brightness, we tried to tackle the content that's on there and the audio, and to make sure that there were people such as the Guam Land Use Commission and the Department of Public Works that really had some oversight over the issues there.
She says while she believes the amendments made the bill better and stronger, she still hopes the governor sends it back without signing it so the legislature can work on it further. And can you spare about 10 minutes to let the Visitors Bureau know what its focus should be in the next 5 years? GVB is looking to develop its next 5-year strategic plan, Tourism 2025, and is asking the public to respond to an online survey. Here's more from GVB President.
We've got many things that we wish we could improve on, but these things need to be prioritized, and we need to all come together as a community and decide what is important to us for our visitor industry and what are we going to focus on so that we can foster more tourism, economic prosperity for the island.
For more information on the survey, check out the GVB website at www.guamvisitorsbureau.com. GVB launched its Tourism 2020 strategic plan about 5 years ago with a vision of transforming Guam into a first-tier resort destination with the goal of 2 million annual businesses and leisure visitors. GVB statistics indicate that fiscal year 2019 saw a record of 1.63 million arrivals. And a public meeting on the status of Cocos Lagoon cleanup efforts in Moleso will be held Friday. The meeting, organized by the Nature Conservancy Guam, will feature officials from U.S. EPA, the Coast Guard, the Division of Aquatic Wildlife Resources, and Guam EPA. PCB contamination from a Coast Guard navigation station on Cocos Island is still present over 50 years after that station was shut down, according to a July 2019 report from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, Nick Lee of Guam EPA.
There is still a fish consumption advisory in place, and that advisory has been in effect since 2006. The residents and the community will learn more and understand more about that through the discussion and presentation with NOAA and US EPA.
Lee says his agency also plans to remove a failed tire reef in Cocos Lagoon.
win a grant from NOAA in the amount of $250,000. And so the Environmental Monitoring Division of the agency will be looking to address a tire reef and remove approximately 2,500 tires out of the Cocos Lagoon.
The meeting is Friday from 6 to 8 p.m. at Maliso Pier Park at the request of Mayor Ernest Chargaloff. Lee said all questions from the public will be addressed by officials present. And don't go away, sports is next. Keep it here.
Agent Alpha. What's that? An Alpha Insurance customer needs a claim settled immediately? I'm on it. Agent Alpha.
In the event of an accident, theft, or breakdown, each of our Alpha Insure agents are trained to go above and beyond.
This is my stop. There she is. Target acquired. Agent Alpha.
Yes!
I hinanauta nui manauta tonu I Tomoru Siha at the Senator Antonio M. Palomo Guam Museum and Chamorro Educational Facility, featuring state-of-the-art technology and the most complete display of Guam's history and culture in the Chamorro language to date. We have over 300 curated artifacts, thousands of images, multiple audios, and short films to guide you through the historical Chamorro narrative of Guam. Take the journey at the Guam Museum. For more information, visit www.guammuseum.org.
Choose, press, play. Check out the latest flicks at home on Docomo Pacific View It On Demand, powered by TiVo. Here's our top picks for the month. Choose, press, play, and enjoy endless entertainment with View It On Demand, powered by TiVo on Docomo Pacific. Better together.
I'm Ruby Santos. I'm from the beautiful southern village of Umatic. One of the things that we take pride in is promoting Guam through our music, through our original compositions of songs. Here on Guam, what makes us different is our people. When we can extend that Hafaday spirit of being sincere, being genuine, being truthful, being honest, that's all part of our Hafaday spirit. The hospitality, our hearts, the genuine friendships and connections that we establish, it's all from the heart, and they can feel it. The Hafaday Pledge is something that should be taught also to our children. I think when you plant that seed in them, they'll understand it at an early age how important it is to be hospitable, to receive and embrace not only our own culture, but to embrace the other cultures around us. We are all one people.
KUAM Sports is presented by Triple J.
What's up, Guam? Dave Delgado here for KUAM Sports. Thanks for watching. Well, it's that time of the month where we take a look at your Gatorade Game Changer. Check it out. Southern High wrestler Jordan Lujan is in his second year representing the Dolphins on the mat. The 15-year-old sophomore has an extensive jiu-jitsu background out of Purebred Academy. Lujan is a green belt with several podium finishes dating back to 2011.
We had a jiu-jitsu background, so my brother joined wrestling in high school, and my dad kind of brought up the idea that I should join. And, you know, I enjoyed jiu-jitsu a lot, and it's kind of similar, so that's why I got into it.
Jordan was a starter at middle blocker for the JV volleyball team his freshman year. He also played left wing on the rugby team. Lujan got hooked into the sport of wrestling after getting a taste of the all-island meet last season.
I love the hostility. You know, it's very intense. You gotta know what you want. You gotta have confidence in yourself. It's a sport for one person, you know. You can't rely on anybody. Everything's on you.
Jordan is hungry for redemption. The 126-pound competitor is currently 8-0, including the preseason. Jordan is co-captain of the team. He took third place at last year's All-Island tournament, barely missing out on a top 2 finish.
Last season, I didn't really take it that seriously. I was always feeling terrible after my matches. I didn't feel good. It was taking longer for me to recover. And when my dad started helping me out with my diet and I started taking my conditioning seriously, my body started to heal faster and I was able to train harder than I could last year.
Jordan says he's taken this year's season step by step and not trying to overthink his matches, just focusing on his craft and being a student athlete with good grades.
A lot of people think that, Southern High is a bad school. We have this bad rep and we're here. Our wrestling team are really trying to change that image. We're trying to show that we're just like all these other schools. We deserve to be here.
With AP courses keeping him busy in the classroom, he finds time after school as an altar server at San Miguel Parish. Jordan is also an active volunteer at Camelot Caradat Homeless Ministry.
It feels good to give back to my community. Here at the South, we don't really have that much here, so it's always good to help with the church and stuff. My parents raised me well, they taught me from a young age, to always be humble, respect everybody and stuff like that. I have good morals and I'm so young, so I have a lot of time on my hands. I don't have to worry about, any adulthood stuff. So I got a lot of time to do the best that I can while I can.
Whether it's in the classroom, taking care of his grades, or on the mats, taking care of business, Jordan Lujan is always pushing to become better, and that's what makes him a Gatorade game changer. Bill Bennett has been selected to lead the University of Guam's newly reinstated men's baseball team. Bennett has more than 40 years of involvement in baseball and softball, skills and development programs for national teams, school teams, youth, and coaches. He is the founder of the Guam Amateur Baseball Association, a nonprofit organization that develops baseball and softball leagues, tournaments, private lessons, camps, and clinics, and the Guam Baseball Academy, which runs training academies and leagues. Team tryouts will be held at 9 in the morning on Saturday and Sunday, December 14th and 15th at the George Washington High School baseball field. The team will participate in the Guam Major League starting in February. For more information, contact the UOG Athletics Department at 735-2861.
It is the spirit within us, our soul, our essence that drives us to seek a better way, to create beauty and enrich the senses, to inspire fulfilling lives, to be at one with our earth and protect those who we love. Only by taking on challenges do we change the world for the better.
Matson is in this community. We've been in this community for decades. We're gonna be in this community for decades to come. Things will get busy, things will get quiet, but we're gonna be here. We're your hometown carrier. And that matters to us.
Reliability is the core of our business. We take pride in ensuring that we arrive in Guam on time as scheduled.
It's our local employees who understand the market, who understand the business, and provide that hard work for you each and every day.
When we hold ourselves to high standards, our customers also hold us to high standards. We establish good business relationships that turn into friendships. That's why it's so important to be here and be trusted by your customers. We want you to trust Matson like your friend, like your family.
And before we close out the news tonight, our latest round of birthday shout-outs from the Cold Stone Creamery Birthday Club.
We got some birthday business to do, so happy birthday to Bobby Onidera. Happy birthday coming from your son, Tyler John, and all of your family and friends. Also, happy birthday number 8 to Shelby. This comes from your sister Lizzie with love and appreciation. And a very happy birthday to a member of our team, to KUM's very own Mike Villagomez. Happy birthday, Daddy. We love you 3000. Say your wife Sharon, Michael Paul, and all of your friends at KUM's digital department. We hope you have a fantastic birthday.
Remember, you can be part of the Cold Stone Creamery Birthday Club by registering online on KUAM.com. Please make sure to include with your photo your name and birthday. That's going to do it for us here on the news desk, but stay tuned. Bree is next with In the Mix.